every time Washington steps back just a little, markets do what they're supposed to do: innovate, compete, and lower costs. However, right now, Washington is heading in the wrong direction, or could be. President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act hands bureaucrats sweeping authority to make price controls and setting drug prices. Right now, President Trump is on the verge of enforcing a most favored nation executive order that's tying U.S. prices to foreign government caps, another form of price control. These are costly terms. The Council of Economic Advisors during Trump's first term, which is actually my time while I was there, I helped work on this with some folks there, showed that Americans already shoulder nearly 70% of global patented drug profits, despite being just 1/3 of the global economy. That's not because markets failed, Grover, but because other governments impose price caps in different countries, reducing their amount of innovation and increasing it here in America. And now, instead of fixing that, we're importing their bad ideas. Research at the National Bureau of Economic Research found that forcing prices down, which was what the most favored nation sort of pricing could do, if you force it down 40 to 50%, it would slash early stage R&D by 30 to 60%. Think about that. Cut prices in half, which sounds good, and you cut the pipeline of new drugs by almost in half. It doesn't make medicines cheaper, it makes them disappear. This sounds tough, but tariffs are just another form of government price control. They're taxes, and taxes on medicines land on patients, either directly or through premiums. The American Hospital Association warned these tariffs could disrupt supply chains and put patients at significant risk. Pharma said it bluntly: every dollar spent on tariffs is dollar that cannot be invested in new treatments and cures. So whether it's price caps or tariffs, the theme is the same. Washington should be more American and free market, not more controlling like China, for us to win. America can double down on price controls, tariffs, and bureaucracy and hand the future of biotech to Beijing and China. Or we can unleash competition, empower patients, and let people prosper. As someone who worked on budgets and deregulation at the White House, I can tell you, governments don't innovate, people do. And if Washington will just step back, America will remain the global leader in cures and innovation, which is what we all would expect.
The idea that pharmaceutical companies haven't been, consistently and actively fighting foreign nations for, selling their pharmaceuticals at a more reasonable price is false. The reality is, in places like Europe, they have these crazy antitrust laws and such that they threaten companies with if they even so much as push back on their, set prices. So the reality is foreign pharmaceutical companies will not be able to accomplish getting prices higher in other countries. In reality, they will just stop producing. They'll stop innovating. If we are willing to risk the lives of millions of people, or at least push it off for decades, is that worth, a slightly lower price that probably won't put a real dent in healthcare costs, because pharmaceuticals account for about 15% of healthcare costs in the first place? I don't think so.
We need to make sure that we have the strongest private property rights, intellectual property rights, those sort of things here in America that will allow us to be competitive overall, while also reducing our regulations and look at taxes and things of that nature to really allow for us to be as competitive as possible. And the other thing I will mention is that there's going to be trade-offs. The more that you move away from China, so why did we go to China?
Right.
We went to China because it was cheaper to produce. And there's this idea that businesses will just go to China to increase their profitability. That's their first decision. That's oftentimes not what happens.
Right.
They move out of states that are high tax, high regulation states to lower tax, low regulation states. Then they move to countries that have low regulations and lower taxes and other things to profit more.
If we were to kind of temper that subsidization and maybe, incentivize people studying the STEM field, I think that could drive more and more kids towards more useful degrees.